We are all going through difficult times right now because of the COVID. There's so much of death, suffering, pain. And whenever we are going through such an experience, quite often we cannot make sense and meaning of why such pain and suffering. And particularly when we suffer, we tend to ask, what's the reason behind it? This reason, wanting to find the reason behind it, has two different approaches generally. One is the logical mind, which seeks cause and effect. So what could be the reason behind this pain and suffering? And we try to find who's responsible for it. And we can ascribe this responsibility to a particular individual, a particular institution, to the government at large. And then there is an element of anger, there's an element of blame towards whatever is happening and who's responsible for it. There's a good side to it, and then we try to take corrective measures to try to rectify the situation also. But there's always a sense of emotional anger and angst also associated with finding what is responsible and what is creating this pain and suffering. The other approach towards finding the reason or cause of pain and suffering is the devotional approach, where one is has faith in a higher power, a higher reality, in God, and ascribes whatever is happening to the will of God. Now, this may seem as passive to people who are rational and logical, but the fact of the matter is a lot of things in our life cannot be explained. What about natural disasters, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tornadoes? The suffering caused by all of this cannot be ascribed to any individual institution or government, or even illnesses that are unexplained. So that's something that people who are religious or have devotion find solace in, and they accept that whatever is happening according to the will of a higher power. But there's a third way and a third approach, which is to maybe, and one could try this, avoid constantly getting caught up in cause and effect, which means that one doesn't give up the rational mind or give up the devotional mind, but to transcend the mind for some time. And what do I mean by that? And that I mean is, imagine for a few moments that nothing is causing anything. This whole universe is existing and playing out on its own this very moment. Nothing is the cause behind anything. It is just all happening right now in this moment. Your breathing is happening on its own. Your heart is pumping on its own. The sensations are happening on its own. Everything in this moment is happening on its own. And the way to go about to experience and get in touch with that dimension, which just acknowledges that everything is happening on its own, is through mindfulness, through meditation, through presence. Just close your eyes, sit still, and just notice that everything is happening on its own. And when we connect to that source, that deepest source of life, then our ability to deal with situations becomes more proactive and more wise, and doesn't come from that space of emotional reactivity so much. We are able to deal with acceptance, we are able to deal with situations with grace, and we are able to also be more effective at the same time. So I'll end with a quote, and this is my own quote, which says, everything in life cannot be explained. Life is a matter of experience. Namaste. Thank you.